Welcome to the Kitty Cat Go Adventure podcast, where we discuss various topics related to cat adventure, travel, training, and enrichment. I'm your host, Emily Hall, cat trainer and cat adventure enthusiast. Join me as I share my own tips and advice and chat with the experts to help and encourage you to give your cat the best life possible. Remember, no adventure is too big or too small. I can't wait to learn, grow, and explore with you. If you're one who adventures alone with your cat, it's important to be conscious of your safety. Situational and environmental awareness, in combination with some basic self-defense strategies, can make all the difference. To bolster our confidence and give us the safety tools we need as we explore with our cats, I'll be chatting with self-defense expert Rachel Mahloch. Rachel is a personal safety expert and founder of Battle Woman Self-Protection and Defense Method. She is devoted to helping women tap into their inner strength and providing them with the tools they need to feel secure in their lives. Battle Woman focuses on developing awareness skills and providing women with tips on how to recognize and avoid dangerous situations, as well as providing women with practical self-defense skills that can be used in various situations. This includes identifying potential threats in different environments, such as parking lots, public transportation, and other public areas. Beneath her formidable exterior lies a compassionate mother to 3 extraordinary children, an English cream retriever, and 2 rabbits, which we will hear about later. Rachel spent 20 years developing her skills in New York City, but her roots trace back to an Iowa farm. Today, she proudly calls the breathtaking mountains of Colorado her home. When she isn't busy being a boss lady to be reckoned with, Rachel loves to sing karaoke and to hike. With an unbeatable fusion of strength and wit, Rachel serves as the ultimate source of inspiration for those who want to live a life that is free from fear. Well, let's bring Rachel on. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, let's kick things off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your pets.
Yeah. I'm Rachel Mahloch, as Emily said. Rachel Mahloch, personal safety expert and self-defense expert. I've trained for the past 20 plus years in various martial arts and threat assessment and de-escalation. And I started Battle Woman, 8 years ago when I moved to Colorado.
Wow.
It was by accident. I didn't want to teach. It was this whimsical thing. My sons were like, "Mom, you should make your car like a tank and go into battle." It was a Memorial Day weekend, right? And I was like, "Oh, like a battle woman," and yeah, and so battle woman, battle mom. I actually I call myself, or people call me Battle Mom. So I own Battle Mom, Battle Girl, and Battle Woman, and pretty much do most of the training under the Battle Woman brand because women were self-excluding because they weren't moms. So I'm like, come on, you have pets and but you're moms, everybody's a mom. So Battle Woman is the main brand. And 8 years ago, I started doing personal safety workshops, and as I guess it would be a hobby, and it has evolved and grown so much since then in a way that I couldn't have possibly imagined. And look, here I'm talking about hiking with our animals, with your cats, which, by the way, I have been on a 14er, like I said, and I have seen a cat at the top of, I think it was DeCalibron, if anybody's in Colorado. It was Mount Cameron, I think. So a cat in a backpack at 14,000 feet.
Representing, yeah.
So I continue to train, and my goal, when we look at the numbers for attacks and aggression, that's really my goal. When I didn't expect it when I started doing this. I didn't appreciate how big the problem was or is. And there's really no good solution out there. There's a lot of martial arts and things that are like that, and that's wonderful. And women don't often seek out that training because it's not taught by women.
Mm.
Right. And only women can understand the sensitivity and the emotional content that goes with certain types of aggressions. It's not a fight, it's not a backyard wrestling, it's not MMA, even though I train, that's kind of how I train. But it's emotional content. And when you boil it all down, the most important thing that you can do is plan and work on your awareness skills, your breathing skills, stay calm, and your communication skills way before the defense skills are necessary. And if I hope that by training more people, having people learn and understand and get that into their daily life, that the numbers of aggressions, attacks against women will start to lower.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of times women, including myself, I mean, I can't tell you, whenever I go hiking by myself, I try not to ever tell my mom, because she's always like, no, you can't go hiking by yourself. That's a terrible idea. I mean, that's overwhelmingly the advice given, is don't go out alone, don't go hiking alone. But if we all waited around for a buddy or a spouse or significant other, we might not ever get to do these things, or wouldn't get to do them as often as we like. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think you're absolutely right. You don't stay at home under the quilt, afraid to go out, right? There is always going to be some sort of obstacle or challenge that you're going to experience in your daily life. And you certainly, if hiking is what you love, it's good for, it's good for your body, it's good for your mind, everything, you should do it. And how I approach it, I'm alone all the time. When I do 14ers, I don't do that alone because there are other, potential risks at play there, involving death if you fall, or things on certain mountains. But have a plan. At the end of the day, have a plan, and that plan should include, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? Everybody's afraid of something. Okay, name it, and then have an action plan for it, visualize it, and then it'll be almost a non-event for you, right? And if something does happen, you are so prepared, just like you would take your gear with your animal, right? You pack your first aid kit, you have your snacks, you have your water. I say you plan for your financial future and you plan for your health and wellness by going to the doctor, your longevity, but nobody plans for their safety. So just take a few minutes, write it down. What am I afraid of? And then, there's some do's and don'ts that, everybody feeds us, which are true. When you're alone, your awareness, you need to heighten your awareness, right? Your situational and your self-awareness. For example, earbuds. If you're going to hike with earbuds in, you should probably take one out, because that takes away one of your senses, and you cannot, or it's very difficult to check in with your environment if you don't hear anything. You don't hear someone coming up behind you. You don't hear an animal approaching even. That's a big concern that I have when I've run into bear, and I've run into mountain lion. In front of my house, actually, mountain lion, with my dogs. They were puppies. We were babysitting another dog, and that was, I was like, I didn't talk about have a plan. I didn't have a plan for that. I saw lights. I had a headlamp. It was dark, and I had these two puppies, and I was like, oh, it's a fox. It's going to run away. And my eyes had kind of adjusted, and it didn't run away. And then I saw the tail, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to throw up. And I didn't know what to do, other than I remembered, make yourself big. It didn't, we stared at each other for a good 20 seconds, which was also really frightening.
Lasts forever. That seems like it lasts forever, I'm sure.
Oh my God. And then it just walked away very slowly. And I thought to myself, it must, because of the headlamp, I must have blinded it. And the dogs were kind of rolling around over here, and I must have looked very big, and like it didn't want to bother with me, or it wasn't hungry. I don't know. But I'll never forget it. And I just stood there and let it walk away. I was like, I'm not even going to move. The dogs didn't even notice, thank God.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, little they were like 16 weeks old. They were still pretty big. You know, my English cream retriever is 105 pounds. He's huge. And he's just kind of goofy. And I know he would have probably just tried to, like, run up to it or something. But going forward, I will tell you that I'm not going out at 5 in the morning again. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I know that mountain lion lives very near here. I'm like, I can't do it. And it took me a while to go out early in the morning so I didn't run into that. There's bear all the time on the streets in the alley. You just make noise and they kind of run away. But that speaks to what I was talking about, having a plan, right? Without the plan, your freeze mechanism is a little bit longer than you would like it to be, right? We have fight, flight, and freeze, right? And, again, without the plan, it takes you a second to figure out what is happening right now and what do I do about it. And that's the window of opportunity for, an animal or a human to, do what they're going to do. The nefarious play actor, I like to call them, the perps or the offenders, whatever. But, that's the window of opportunity. So if you have a plan and then you practice skills and practice and learn skills that will help you in that moment. I always recommend never, practicing, a technique, because that's never how it's going to happen. Right. And it's just going to make you go, oh, I didn't do the thing. Or what if I don't remember that? And, just learn some skills, a few skills, strikes and kicks, whatever. Your voice is a big one, breathing to stay calm, and go out alone. Man, don't stay home. Go out alone. It's okay. And if your gut tells you that something's wrong, listen to it. That's another one. That's part of your self-awareness. Trust your gut. It's never going to lead you in the wrong path, right? And if it's telling you that I just really shouldn't go that way, or maybe I'm going to wait 30 minutes and go a little bit earlier, a little bit later, change up your schedule, then you should do that. Definitely do that. But never discount your intuition. It's always right. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like you said, having a plan helps so much, because even if you can plan as much as you want, but if something actually happens, you'll still probably have that, like, oh my gosh, reaction. But hopefully you'll react a little bit quicker and feel a little bit more prepared about what to do. I think that's really great advice.
With the plan, the awareness piece is critical, right? And, because if you can't see what's coming towards you or what's happening around you, see, hear, smell, oftentimes I will smell like an animal. You can kind of smell it sometimes, like even moose, right? Like there's any depending on where you are in this world, there's some kind of predator about, the awareness piece is just, I can't say enough about it, because even if you can't avoid it, you see it coming, you have some time to breathe and to get your wits about you.
Yeah. So we have some comments. Terry says the point, only we know our environment, subconsciously noticing changes in our known environment.
It's true. And, if you're with your cat, I'll tell you, hiking with an animal, I grew up in a farm, so I grew up with horses too. There's no better alert system than your animal, even to weather, right? They know when there is a pressure change, when they smell the predator, or they smell the vibe way before you do. And so having a good energy, I guess, vibe with your animal, right? Like, have your self-awareness and the situational awareness and your animal involved with that, right? Like, and they will feel your energy too. So if you start to feel it first, they're going to react to that for sure.
Yeah, that's such an important point, because if you react nervously or are scared, then it's only going to make things worse for your cat. So going back to having that plan will hopefully help center you and ground you a little bit more, so you can stay calm to help your cat.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so we've talked about situational awareness. How can one best determine if it's safe for them to go out alone or not?
So that's a really multifaceted question, and it's situational, right? Depends on where you are. If you're in an urban environment, traveling, if there is weather, if you notice, if there's been some sort of criminal activity, and we're talking hiking here, right? I really think that you need to trust your gut, and if you have skills, you're confident. And I think what the more important point, I think you should always go out unless your gut tells you not to. I think you should be tenacious and intrepid and do those things, right? And the more important point there, I think, is knowing when to cut bait. If you get there and you're like, no, I'm the only one on this trail. I'm the only one on this trail, and I don't like it. There were some attacks. I mean, there have been attacks here in this area. I'm in Boulder. And it's people, there is a, nefarious play actor with a purpose. And so I think it's important to know, that's a hard question to answer because, I don't think you're going to know when it's safe. I think that you are going to you're going to do what you want to do in your plan. And then you should feel okay with changing your plan. Right. And with your awareness, like if you go there, there's nobody there, for example, or you see that, maybe there's bear activity, or, I'm not saying look at the police blotter or anything, but, a lot of people are on the Nextdoor apps and things like that, kind of listen to the chatter. If you don't feel comfortable, turn around, pick a different trail. That's how I live my life, right? I get to a place and I'll say, you know what, that's too dark. And I'm a self-defense instructor. Why would I choose the shorter way? And it's dark and risky, and the likelihood that I am going to get attacked back there is really high. Why would I do that? Why would I make that choice? I'm going to take the longer. I'm going to take a different route. I think that's a better answer to your question than, when can you make that determination? Because I just think that every situation is different.
Yeah.
And any advice I give would be, applicable for a small pool of people.
Sure.
I say do it. I say YOLO and go out and do all the things you want to do, unless you see that there is a risk that you're not willing to accept, right? And you won't know that until you get there most of the time, or sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it goes back to that gut intuition, right? You might not realize you're not comfortable with situation until you're in it, and you're like, actually, this isn't okay.
And that's okay. Lucky you, I have all these stories of weird things happening to me on the trail. I was out one morning. I had my dog, and it was like it was like 8 a.m, and a guy was approaching me, and he had a piece of rebar. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, my dog is not going to help me because he's overly friendly. And what do I do? I'm like, I have this leash. It has a really heavy clip on it. I started swinging it because I'm really good. I'm like, I can flick a towel. I could hit him in the face with this. So I started swinging it because he looked crazy. Piece of rebar. I'm like, if he hits me with that thing,
Yeah.
And he was a good size, right? And the trail was very narrow, so I was going to have to walk pretty close to him. So I just started swinging it, and I kept my eyes on him. And I'm like, I'm going to look crazy. I'm going to look crazy, and I'm going to look right at him, and I'm not going to take him out of my sight until he passes, and I'm going to turn and wait until he goes. And we, if he wasn't crazy, he definitely thought I was crazy. Because if we approach, he's got this rebar, and I'm like swinging it, looking at him, and we looked at each other, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, we passed, and all was fine. But I was super attentive and super on it, and like, don't mess with me. Do not mess with me. So, I mean, that's another point, when you're out, there are a lot of things in nature that are excellent weapons when you need them in the moment. Sticks, long sticks, rocks, leashes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point too about making eye contact. Because it seems like maybe if you act really confidently and like, don't mess with me, that they might feel a little put off by that. Whereas if you're like, oh, I'm so scared, then you seem more like a easy
Your
prey.
opportunity. Yep.
Yeah.
Statistically, you are more likely to stay safe if you are making eye contact, if you're ready to fight, confident, and you're not distracted. Why? Criminals don't want to get caught, and they don't want to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look like you're going to fight, or if you look like you're any trouble at all, you're not an opportunity. The minute you're on your phone, that's a big one. Get off your phone, people. Enjoy the hike. The pictures are here. Don't, if you need to look at all trails or whatever, okay, but don't be like, even like with the videos, and I'm like, wow, God, you need to just really pay attention. That makes you more eligible in that category of opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we want that less. And if you're ready, if you are confident, let's say, and they try anyway, because I want everyone to remember that these are crimes of opportunity most of the time, and you did nothing wrong. You're at the wrong place at the wrong time. And if you are a little bit distracted, that's the perfect storm, right? Then you might become an opportunity, but you should be able to go wherever you want, whenever you want. And there's no shame or blame. If anybody out there has been aggressed, you didn't do anything wrong, right? It's wrong place, wrong time, and shame on them. But definitely confident, eye contact. And, eye contact is great. People think it's an aggressive, but it's not. Eye contact is awareness and an acknowledgement of another human there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to do something, like kick them, for example, if they get too close, kick them or strike them, maintaining eye contact is a way, it's a distract. They don't see what you're going to do, right? If they're looking at your face.
Mm-hmm.
If you look away, or like, if I don't look at it, it won't go away. I see that a lot, right? And now you can use your peripheral vision and things like that, but kind of pretending to be meek or just not uninterested just takes away your field of vision a little bit. And so be attentive if you do choose to not quite look at them, or look straight ahead, but what's going on. It's really, I can't say enough about it.
Yeah.
Awareness.
What would you do if you were to be attacked by a human out on the trail? Are you a cat adventurer looking for ways to strengthen that bond between you and your cat? New cat enrichment ideas? And encouragement and inspiration to explore the world together? Bond with your cat like never before by joining Kitty Cat Go Trailblazers, a community of cats and humans from all over the world who are ready and waiting to support and encourage you on your cat adventure journey. Over in Trailblazers, you'll find monthly challenges and activities designed to give you fresh ideas of things to do and new ways to explore with your cat, both indoors and outdoors. You'll also be able to connect face-to-face with other community members during our monthly Zoom chats. Trailblazers is made up of cat adventurers of all experience levels who are all ready to share in your victories and struggles and to help you and your cat reach your goals. You'll find yourself right at home amongst your tribe. Learn more at kittycatgo.com/trailblazers. What would you do if you were to be attacked by a human out on the trail?
Well, it depends on how they, in what way. So we could say, let's say somebody came up and, or even behind me, maybe, that's a more likely thing to happen. I teach a lot of runners, and I've had runners, guys waiting in the bushes that run out at them to grab them. I know, it's really, I'm like, who are these people? Let's say that guy would have, with the rebar, would have tried to maybe grab me by the wrist or lunge at me or swing that piece of rebar at me. The most common attack on a woman is a grab, by the way. So I anticipate or assume that a grab is going to happen. They're going to grab you and either shove you down from behind, push you from the front, come at you from, think about all the angles. And so if I were shoved from behind, I try to roll with it so I know how to fall. There's a very particular way to learn how to fall forward with your face to the side so you don't hit your face. That's very important. You don't want to hit your face, so you don't want to knock all the things out, right? And knock yourself out.
Yeah.
If you get knocked out, you can't take care of yourself and you can't take care of your animal. And I would try to get off the ground as quickly as I could, because that is a very bad position to be in, to have them behind you. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say the awareness piece is good, is critical. So you don't get in that, checking in with your environment to see that somebody's walking behind you maybe, or, even runners, I'll say, don't pace a female runner, please. That's rude, and it's scary. So if they were to shove me from the front or try to, I'm very quick and I don't need a lot of movement, and I would try to get out of the way first. I would try to avoid any kind of lunging hands at me. And then I would either do an arm drag and pull them to a different, position that's more advantageous for me, or I would split, come up the center and go right for their face. Right. So it's self-defense, not fighting. I like to avoid it. I'm only 5 feet tall. I have been attacked, and I train with big guys. So I understand how the body works, and I understand what I need to do to drop a big guy. And it's not kick them in the groin. Okay. That's just a distraction. That's just an entry point. So it's what we're told. I like to get off the train tracks, as it were, and go for their face. Claws, palm heels to the chin, contour the jaw. It moves their head, and where the head goes, the body follows. And then, right, and then they're the ones shocked. They're not expecting it, right? And I would, with a flurry of strikes. If I had enough advance notice, I could potentially use a kick. But me, because of my training, I also like to put hands on, right? If you don't have a lot of training, kicks are wonderful. If you've got long legs, kicks are great. Kicks to the knee is fantastic, because if you break their knee or hurt them in a way, they can't continue to chase you. I like the eyes. Why I say like the groin, that's what we're told. Fine, use it as an entry point. Go for the eyes. You can breathe through a groin strike, right? But you can't breathe through a scratched cornea or a torn eyelid. So if somebody's really coming at you and they get right in, I've got eye gouges from the palm heel. I've got claws down, rakes, right? You do this palm heel and, shock them to even the philtrum, bridge of the nose, chin, jawline, and then claw into their eyes. You've got hammer fist into the orbital bone. Go for the eyes, right?
Holly, I'm hurting just hearing about this.
Right? Or a throat poke, right? Boom. And if you mess this up or forget it or whatever, throat poke right there. And trust me, I've never had anybody not go
Yeah.
right. And then use your voice. Stop, no, get back, right? Get off. Very clipped, very short commands. Not I tell women, because I see this. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? We don't want engagement. We don't want any engagement. And they've created an engagement. So we want to end an engagement. Stop, let go of me, curse, you say whatever you want, whatever's going to fuel your fire. And if you're yelling or speaking, you are breathing. What I also see is people hold their breath. And it's very important that you keep your breath flowing, because without, you're going to deprive your brain of oxygen, and then you're not going to be able to make clear decisions, right? So stay calm. And, you can ask me if somebody has a specific scenario they want to talk, I can talk you through it. But there's, all the ways you can defend. Throat pokes, again, it's self-defense. So remember, you need to be ballistic. If somebody is attacking you on the trail, that's serious, and they have an intent to do something. If they're trying to drag you or take you to a different location, even, it could be their car, do not go, because worse things will happen at
Right.
the secondary location, right? So you really must, it's critical that you fight. And there may be no one there to help you, unfortunately, and that may have been the opportunity, right? They wait for people to wait for you to be alone. Maybe there's one car left and they've trolled that trailhead, and they wait for you to come back, and it's go time, right? You get a rock, get a stick. You don't want to get shoved into your car, right? And then remember, here we have our animal.
Yeah,
So
I was about to ask, what do we do with our cats while all of this is
right,
happening?
right. So interestingly enough, depending on if is your cat in a backpack, that would be better if they were coming from the front. So if your cat is okay with jostling, and as long as you don't fall, the last thing you want to do is get pushed down and you're holding, you've got your cat on the back, right? So if they're safe in there, leave them there. I think don't put them down, because, first of all, it might motivate you to fight more, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a sticky wicket, because there's gonna be jostling.
Yeah.
When you run in these backpacks, this is actually a question for me, because running is, if you're a good runner and you're fast, running is an option. It is an acceptable option if you think you can get away, and if your cat's okay with you running, if they like that jostling, or and if you can breathe and whatever, and you think you can get away, and create distance, because that's ultimately what you want, is to create distance between you and the attacker. Then I say do that. If you see it coming, there are things you can do, like, this is assuming your cat's in your backpack, pick up a rock, because if you're a good shot, you can throw a rock, you can throw handfuls of gravel, get a stick, and then have the intent to do it. This is another really critical piece. If you don't think that you could defend yourself, like, empathy for attacker is a real thing. I don't want to hurt anybody. Of course, nobody wants to hurt anyone, right? And in our plan, we have to imagine that, what do they want to do to you? They want to hurt you, right? They're not there to mug you, probably, right? Like, that's not the reason.
If they are, just give them what they want.
What they want. Not only that, I mean, I know it's hiking, you want to travel light, but I tell people to have a dummy wallet. If they do mug you, a dummy wallet with like $5 in there or something, and throw it. So they have to go get it and then run.
Yeah.
Make a distractions are really good. Yeah, it's hard, right? And if your cat was on a leash, or if you're carrying it, I would say I actually have trained some like one-handed techniques, presuming a child. Like when I
Mhm.
was pregnant, for example, I'm like, what would I do if I had a baby? You have your kicks. If you don't want to let go of your cat, you have your kicks. Put your cat in a safe place. They're not like children, so they don't understand, or maybe they do. I don't know. Go, heel or whatever. Sit there. You don't want your cat to get hurt, right? If it tries to defend you, or God forbid it gets scared and runs away.
That
So
would probably be the most likely scenario.
right. And then, if it gets scared and runs away, then it's, exposed to a bunch of other risks that you don't want. So what is I wouldn't recommend having, obviously like a tool like pepper spray, because that's gonna, unless you train your cat with, because that will aerosol, right? And
Mhm.
that's a toxin. Like,
What
so
about, like, pepper gel or whatever? Isn't that, like, more streamlined or something?
it is. And so what I say about weapons are great. Use them. I love them. All weapons, there's a place, time and a place for all of them. You have to train it. So you should do like a fire drill with your cat in a couple of different ways. If you feel that you need, if your gut is, going, your spider sensors are going off, you have to have that tool ready. So I talk about threat assessment and threat identification, and you need ability, opportunity, and intent for there to be an attack. If you're in level green, you're hiking, it's great. Level green, no, none of those things are there. Let's say getting to the parking lot or wherever you are, you start to feel, oh God, I don't, I don't feel right. That's level yellow. That's assessing for threats. And you got to have your tool out. I don't care what it is. Bear spray, pepper gel, pepper spray, the birdie alarm, stun gun, whatever, stick, knife, all of it. You have it out and you have it ready to go until you get to safety. Um, and be confident with that weapon, right? With that tool. You need to practice with it.
Mhm.
You need to know how to, like for pepper spray, you need to know how to shoot it, what the targets are. For pepper spray, you start low, like at the belly button, and go up. So you don't, use it all. There's only like 20 bursts or something in some of those cans.
Mm.
Trust your tool, trust that it's going to work, because sometimes they don't. What if? And remember, if you use something like pepper spray and they're tolerant to it, let's say they're on drugs, it's
Mm.
not going to work. So you will have to do something. And not only that, you'll have to do something hands-free or tool-free, plan B, and you have potentially escalated the situation
Mhm.
by attacking them. You're not attacking them by defending yourself, right? These are all the things that you just need to take into account,
Well, I
right?
think your point about practicing with the weapon and being confident with it is so important, because I think so many people get pepper spray or whatever weapon they choose, so they have it, but they don't take that extra step of actually training with it and practicing with it and being confident with it. And then those things are more likely to be just used against you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, your cell phone is actually a really good weapon. I'm going to get mine here because they don't expect it, right? And I talk about hammer fist, like I said before, your orbital bone, chin, all these temple, jaw, chin, orbital bone, right in there, fits right nice.
Mm.
Collarbone, groin, all the soft parts. But again, the eyes, that hammer fist, there we go, there's my camera. Like that. You're hitting with the pinky part of your palm. Like a rock, paper, scissors, I say. It's really, really a strong strike. Not punching, because especially for women, our structure can't withstand that impact. Okay. So hammer fist, you can throw all these different directions because your rotator cuff. You can throw it from behind. You can throw it forward, to the side, down. You hold your cell phone in the same way. you have these life cases. You're not likely to break it. It's going to work every time, and you have it. So think about that. If you have a tool, I'm going to have pepper spray, but you have your phone and you have your this and you have your that. Don't use your keys. You might lose them. It's not comfortable. It's very ballistic. You try to get somebody's keys in their eye, that's gross.
Yeah.
But it's not the recommended, not anymore. People used to recommend using keys. Don't use your keys if you have them. Most people don't even have them anymore. Your cell phone is excellent because the life case, it's not going to break. They're not going to take it because what are they going to do with it, right? Maybe you'll drop it, but you'll get some good shots in if you get close. But you can call 911, especially with the iPhone. There's that setting you can quickly call 911, or the flashlight. You can blind them with it, maybe if it's bright enough, depending on the time of day. That's a good distraction. Yeah, there's a lot to it's a big topic.
It is. I'm like, wow, 45 minutes has flown by.
See?
We do have a request from a viewer. Terry asked if you can speak about verbal bullies on the trail.
Yeah. Intimidation is a big thing. So what I would say in engagement, don't engage. And if they're following you or, it depends on the situation, I guess. So if you could be more clear, that'd be awesome. Well, I'll continue to talk. Sometimes people want to talk to you and they're whatever the bullying is. This goes back to the command. And will this level up? Will this bullying level up? Okay. Usually people who are verbally loud are not going to act. The people who act, you don't see them coming. Okay. So a verbal bully is annoying and it's still assault kind of, right? The making of commands, right? Get out of here, go away. I've not had it happen to me on the trail, but I've had it happen to me often in, various cities when I'm walking around by myself, blah, 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 whatever. And I just stop and look, go away. Or I just stare at them like they have 8 heads. What do you want?
Yeah, they probably expect you to just, and walk away.
And if you so this goes back to the no engagement, right? Why are you talking to me? Don't do this. Those are questions and those are open-ended, engagement builders, right? I point and I say, go away. So I've given them a direction because if you say, don't do that. Don't do that. Then you're still kind of standing there and more uncomfortable seconds go by, right? Potentially. I've observed a lot as well. And if you try to pretend it's not happening, they'll just keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
They'll keep following you and talking. So you just stop. You're very calm and you're very confident. You make eye contact. Get out of here. Not interested. One, very clipped short sentences. Not today. Go. No. And then keep your eye about, if they kind of wander off, make sure they don't get annoyed and escalate later, like later on in the trail or wherever you are in the world. Sometimes they think about it and they're embarrassed and then they want to make more of a deal out of it. If you have your, your confidence and then what you can do, right? The skills you have, that you can defend yourself, right? They feel that and they'll move on. It's still going to be uncomfortable though, you know, and that's unfortunate. I'm sorry if that did happen. Was that from Terry? I hope that, did that answer your question? I hope so. It takes practice too, by the way, all of this, even the verbal, it takes practice. I have people come to me who have been physically aggressed and they didn't report it, didn't know what to do about it. And I'm like, really? Nobody, for example, somebody grabbed one of my students' butts. Her husband didn't say anything. The guy's wife didn't say anything, and she didn't say anything. And I was like, fascinating.
So
Like,
they all
okay.
just pretended like it didn't happen.
But they're all like, so, and that's a thing, right? And I thought about it, and I was like, you didn't know what to say, did you?
Yeah.
And I
I
was
wouldn't know
like,
what to say. I probably would have done the same thing.
so I trained her, and I said, I said, let's reenact this exactly how it happened. And I said, this is what you're going to do. And this goes for any similar situation. You're going to hold them accountable. That's really important and keep your emotions in check, right? You're going to be so angry, maybe scared, but really frustrated and angry that somebody did something like that. Stay very calm. Otherwise, you become the crazy one always, right? It's so easy to flip the script. Stay very calm, turn around, look them in the eye, and say, what are you doing? Not, how dare you? Why did you? No, what are you doing? Well, they've got to answer you, right? It's pretty clear. Oh, well, I didn't do anything. Really? Are you sure about that? Or it was just a joke. Really? Can you explain to me why that's funny? Because I like to laugh. I love jokes. Can you explain it? I don't get it. Can you explain to me why you thought that would be funny? Just keep, with a very calm manner, keep putting it back, right? And then, to put a final point on it, don't ever touch me again. That's it. If you do, there will be consequences. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
And are we clear? Do you understand? Like a child. And she, after a few classes, she reported it to the police. And they went, because it's assault. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She reported to police. They went to his house, and I'm like, I'm guessing you guys aren't friends anymore. It was like friends of theirs, and I thought, God, how weird.
That is weird.
But for everybody out there, weird things happen all the time, and please don't suffer in silence. That is not how I want people to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point about reporting these incidents. If an incident does happen, report it, because one, hopefully, the police will do something about it. And two, if occurrences are happening in the same area over and over and people aren't reporting them, how do you know it's not a safe spot to go?
Exactly. A lot of these things are underreported. So exactly right, Emily. Report anything. It's data the police want to know. They may not be able to do anything about it, but they want to know. It does go into their database for the dots of what's happening, and you could save somebody's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the extreme.
Yeah.
And then get counseling. That's really important. If something does happen to you, report it and get counseling, because it's trauma. Seek out mental health. If hopefully you wouldn't need hospitalization, but also get some therapy or someone to listen to, an advocate. It's really, really important to get that out of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So Terry thanked you for your tips. She said it's usually disgruntled off-leash dog owners who she deals with, and that is such a common problem. And then we do have a question about what to do if you encounter an unleashed dog. I know you spoke about like other wildlife, mountain lions, bears, stuff like that. What about an off-leash dog?
That's a hard one. It depends on how big the dog is. I will tell you, I was attacked by a dog, and I flipped her over on her back. She ran at me, and I pulled I'm not expecting that to do. It's a little bit braggadocious, but like, she was an American bulldog, and she came running at me, and I was like, oh my God. And I just moved to the side. So it depends on the breed. It depends on what they're coming for. If they're coming, you don't want to let them get to your animal, right? So you need to protect your animal. And there are a few ways, depending on if they're, if they come running up to you, you could do the bad dog voice, like, no, stop, in a real situation like that. But if they're wanting your animal, they're going to go through you to get to the animal. And that's when you treat that dog. I mean, dog people would hate me, and I have a dog. If a dog attacked me, I would beat it. I would go, you go for the eyes, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
Crack it or kick it, right? Obviously you don't want to hurt it, right? I don't want to hurt any animal, but if it's attacking you, it shouldn't be there, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner better be nearby. There are things that you can do, like, if you see somebody getting it, you can grab a dog by the back legs and pull it, like a pit bull or whatever, when they're grabbing onto something, because they can't hold on when you pull their legs out. The guy that was attacked by a mountain lion, you could shove your fist down their throat.
Okay.
There's a guy here who was attacked by a mountain lion on the trail, and he fought it, and he won.
Wow.
He got away. Yeah, it's possible. There are some strategies, but you have to keep your wits about you.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to be willing to fight. So you could start with the bad dog. Hopefully your awareness is enough. You could catch it in time, and you can start yelling at it, make yourself big. Hopefully it's not trying to go for your animal. Get your animal either in your backpack or pick it up, and keep it away. Right. And then if it's up in your business, you can do some hammer fists, right? Dogs, you could take over their space too. If it get big and you walk, like, it's hard to do here, but you get up, move it, take over. Don't let it take your space.
Yeah.
Don't run, because it's predatory. It's going to chase you, right?
Yeah.
Stand your ground.
Yeah. So I actually have a whole episode that I did about dealing with off-leash dogs. I had a panel of people with a dog trainer, a cat trainer, and we talked about this. So Atlian, who asked this question, I would definitely recommend going and checking out that episode. Talk about a lot of tips. So even if the dog isn't actually attacking and aggressive, you can do things like throw a handful of treats down on the ground to distract them. So then you can get your cat in their backpack, if they're not already in their backpack. Having a squirt bottle of just like vinegar, because that will like sting their eyes without really hurting them too bad.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
I'm a little more aggressive than that. Sorry.
well, this is if it's not actually like attacking. If it's like, just coming and maybe not attacking.
Making your cat afraid, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so you just don't want it to come closer.
Right.
If it's attacking you, then yeah, I'm with you. Beat it.
Yeah, right. I was like, I hope I don't offend anyone.
No,
safety. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that episode is season 2, episode 4 of the Kitty Cat Go Adventure podcast. So if you're looking for tips on dealing with unleashed dogs aggressively and non-aggressively, depending on the situation, that episode is full of it. So we have another question. Spike says that she has a question about dealing with someone who's maybe not sober in urban areas. She's had that happen where someone's on drugs and they get violent and not in their right mind. What do you do in that instance? Also, for a lot of these things you mentioned, like stopping to breathe, be calm, how do you gain confidence for someone who's maybe a little more shy and would freeze?
Yeah. So in the urban areas, so I lived in New York for 20 years. So I have experienced that. If you can avoid it, those are the people you just try to avoid, right? Cross the street. You don't have to be afraid of them. And if you feel like they're going to attack you, really try to go in another direction. That's the best answer, right? If you don't have a choice, you got to keep your eye on them, have your tool ready. And, if they ask you, let's say, they say something, you're like, not today, man. You just be very laissez-faire, right? Even though you are, you might be dying on the inside and fearful, keep your eyes on them and don't have your back to them as you kind of check in, keep a wide enough berth so you have some time to step out of the way. and have your tool ready, because that's level yellow, right? Goes back to the assessment. You are getting ready. You're so level yellow, you're about to be level red, which means you're engaged with the threat. Okay. And so then your plan, what would you do? What are your skills? What do you have? One or two hands free? Can you run? Can you, if they're drunk or on drugs, they're pain tolerant. Okay. So you have to really hurt them. They can't feel pepper spray. They can't feel, you have to break things, right? So keeping them at bay, kicks might be good, if you have to, but I would say keep a wide enough berth that you can just scoot away from them. If they're in front of your home or something, you might want to call for help to get, if they're in the vestibule, or if they're following you, don't go home. Go somewhere else until you shake them. Okay, you don't want to lead them home with you. And how do you learn how to stay calm? It takes practice.
Yeah.
And if you learn a few skills and you're confident in those skills, like striking and, I know what I would do if this, pick one, start with one thing. Maybe the homeless situation, or not the homeless, the drug. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that correlation. On drugs or in an urban area. What would I do? Pick exactly. If I couldn't get around them, they would grab me like this, and start there. And then visualize yourself winning. If there's a place you can train, amazing. Try to do that. And then breathing. I'm a trained opera singer. I have a music degree. That's why I was in New York. So woo, weird flex. So I practice belly breathing, and it keeps your heart rate down. And so open throat, belly, you take in all the air, so you're not, doing that and hyperventilating.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so practicing, breathing exercises, even before anything like that happens. So put yourself in the situation in your mind. Visualization meditation is really powerful. You can go through those scenarios and flip the script, because you can always be the winner. Right. And if you don't know what to do, I have a training app. You can check that out, and online stuff. So, or go to a local, maybe a local self-defense class. Did that answer your question, Spike?
She's asking about your app. So that actually is a good segue into where can people find you online?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got your website, battlewoman.com, your Instagram, Real Battle Woman, which I've been watching. You've been posting so many videos of you beating up Bob.
It's hilarious. Bob and I now have a relationship.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it would be such a funny thing, but it is funny, and it amuses me too. So
yeah, it's so funny.
I live alone, so
Yeah.
That's a visual deterrent. He's in the window. Nobody's going to break in here.
That's hilarious. Well, yeah, tell us about your app.
Yeah, so battlewoman.com, Real Battle Woman on IG. I have a TikTok channel, but I haven't populated it yet. I have Battle Woman app. You can search it on the Apple or Google Play Store. It's free to download. And it's a chevron, orange chevron, says Battle Woman. And you can take a free class to experience it yourself. And then, there are ongoing trainings, master classes. I'm starting to populate it more and more and building the community on the app. It's wonderful. And I do online training. I do virtual training. I do private lessons virtually. I teach in person in Colorado, all around Colorado. I do travel. I travel for workshops. And I'm currently seeking out more battle women. I am seeking to train more battle women. So I'm just one person, and there's a big need. And so I'm excited to start bringing my method to anyone who wants to be a battle woman, so we can reach more people. And finally, I am working on technology to do virtual reality training.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Super cool, right?
That's so cool. I didn't even wouldn't have even thought that was possible. I mean,
Right.
I guess anything basically is possible these days with technology, but that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So I'm in a tech accelerator program to develop simulations in a virtual world, so you could simulate hiking with your cat in a virtual world and work on what do I do?
Wow.
Right? It's sort of
That's
like a
so
video
neat.
game. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the timeline on that? Like, when do you expect it to come to fruition?
I hope to have some beta, it'll be, 6 months to a year. I mean, the technology exists. Um, it's just the development of the software.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about it because I want to integrate artificial intelligence in there, so it will level up with you and grow with you as you
Wow.
get better. And the AI can give you advice while you're in the world. So what my method is, there are different competencies, right? So prevention is what we're talking about here. It's wonderful for prevention, to learn these skills so you feel empowered and confident, unafraid to walk around in the world so you can thrive every day, right? It's also restorative for the people who are already survivors, trauma survivors, PTSD, suffering from PTSD. It doesn't matter what it is. Self-defense, self-protection is a way.
Can you hear that?
Awareness. Self-defense is a way to heal from that trauma. That's sort of a somatic healing through self-defense. And because you can do what you didn't know how to do or didn't have the opportunity to do in the moment. So I have students like that as well. And that's really wonderful in the virtual world because oftentimes they don't want to come to a group class.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can train and heal on their own. And it's also great for chronic stress. If you work a really stressful job, which I worked at a hedge fund for a decade, super stressful. So punching things and getting it out of your body at a cellular level, and the breathing, yelling, is really therapeutic, cathartic, as a matter of fact. And then just for plain old fitness.
Yeah.
So these are it serves so many people for various different reasons that, it's important to me to have the app to train more people and have the virtual world. I couldn't be more excited. I just could talk about it all day.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, I definitely appreciate you sharing it all with us tonight. Like you said, it's such a broad topic. There are so many facets and, situations and scenarios that, I'm sure there's so much that could be covered, but I appreciate you so much. This has been inspiring. Like, I'm definitely going to go take that class on your app.
Yes. Yes. And if you have a workshop in your area or want to do one in your area, part of my mantra, like I want the freedom to travel. So if people want to have workshops, I'm going to be there. It's wonderful. And I get to meet new people and spread this word. And, if you know anybody who wants to be a battle woman, let me know. I'm working on that now.
Awesome. Very cool.
Emily, you're awesome. This is great. The world is wonderful. And I hope I see a cat again on the.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, I haven't even run into a cat out on the trail before, except for my own.
Yeah, I was like, this cat was beautiful and just so comfortable. And I mean, imagine over 14,000 feet. And I'm like, I'm all mom-like, but everybody was loving on the cat. Even the dogs were loving on the cat. The cat was super chill.
That's awesome.
I wish that for all of you.
Yeah, so do we. Thanks again, Rachel. This was really great. Are you enjoying the Kitty Cat Go Adventure podcast? Let me know by leaving a review. This will help others to find it and hopefully be inspired to get out there, try new things, and go new places with their cat. What questions do you have about adventuring with cats? Or maybe you'd just like to chat with me about what you learned in this episode. Find me on Instagram at kittycatgoadventures. You can also screenshot this episode and tag me in your stories so I can see who is listening. I'd love to continue the conversation with you, so find me on Instagram or join our Facebook group, Kitty Cat Go Adventure Team, so you can connect with a whole community of fellow cat adventurers. And as always, you can find the show notes, including all links and resources discussed in this episode at kittycatgo.com/podcast. Until next time, happy adventuring.